and gentlemen, Nick here, and welcome to my review of Doctor Who, the 2005 Christmas special, The Christmas Invasion. Probably the best Christmas special of the entire Doctor Who series, in my opinion. I mean, some people aren't so keen on it, but I think this one's pretty much flawless, apart from maybe some editing. But that's gonna be something that's gonna feature quite a bit in the RTD era, especially from this point going onwards, and B, not as bad as later down the line. I think Runaway Bride has worse editing. But okay, it's the story of the Christmas Invasion sees after the events of Departing the Ways and also the Children Need Special Born Again, or that's what it got called later on down the line. The 10th Doctor and Rose return home, return to the Powell estate for Christmas 2006, meeting up with Jackie and Mickey. However, the 10th Doctor, due to the regeneration going wrong as established in Born Again, the 10th Doctor pretty much has to take most of the episode out to recover from his regeneration. And lots of pieces of regeneration energy come out of him. This is the first time we see this in the show. It would happen again with the next couple of Doctors. With 11, 12, and 13. But I think A, this is the most subtle of the regeneration breath, and B, it works more with the context of the story. As opposed to the other ones where they feel obligated to do it, similar with the whole burst out regeneration that 9 into 10 got with the whole glowy one. Seems to be every regeneration in the new series. It seems to be a big spectacle, which in some cases it works, in some cases not so much. So Rose, Jackie, and Mickey have to look after the Doctor. Rose also finds out that Harriet Jones has indeed become Prime Minister. There's also a nice little reference to Aliens of London where we have Big Ben still covered with scaffolding. There's also another reference to Aliens of London World War III with Harriet Jones's mother being on her own. There's a reference to that. What's happening is Harriet is involved, and basically what's happening is that the British have sent up a probe to get pictures of Mars, and that the images should be coming through at midnight. However, it didn't reach Mars. It reached something on its way between Earth and Mars. A spaceship containing an alien race known as the Sycorax. We'll get back to them later, but in the meantime, the Sycorax have sent these robots, the Roboforms as we're later called, or as the Doctor calls them, pilot fish. The Roboforms will be more important to the story of the next Christmas special, The Runaway Bride, when the Rachnos use them. I don't know why they're using these guys though. Or maybe this is this is for the Rachnos' early recce, and the Sycorax just beamed them up. But the robots basically attack a bit in London. Presumably they're after the Doctor. They theorise that the pilot fish can smell this. Maybe the Rachnos can smell it after all. Nah. I don't actually think they're connected to Runaway Bride. I think the Rachnos just uses what's left. Also, fun fact, the Santa faceplate falls off from the Roboforms, the Robot Santas to begin with anyway. And we don't actually see what's underneath them. We'll find out in the next Christmas special, so we have to wait a year. Wait a year at the time of this story coming out. So you'll just have to wait if I do these back to back, 2 weeks probably won't be that quick. Anyway, so after an attack by a killer Christmas tree, which is honestly the best scene in the entire special, so Mickey and Rose work out about what the Doctor meant by pilot fish after he's destroyed the Christmas tree and scared away the Santas to be teleported back to the Sycorax ship. He described it as pilot fish, and then we reveal that these aliens have been, and then it's revealed that Guinevere 1 had taken live video footage of these aliens, and they're on their way to Earth, and they want half of the human population in slavery, or they will kill a third of the human population. And they don't really like. They don't like anyone begging them to not do this, nor being cross about killing someone who's begging them to do this and killing them for no reason. Two unnecessary deaths here, but I suppose it's to show the Sycorax's force. And to be honest, they are a force to be reckoned with. I think they could be a bit more powerful, perhaps some more power being shown off by them. But once the Doctor arrives, they start to look a bit weak. I think we could have had a bit more showing off their power, but I think we get some pretty decent stuff. What we do get of their power is that they control a third of the population of the world, prepare them to jump from high buildings, And yeah, they're prepared to do that. And then they detect, after killing two people who have come to their ship, Harriet Jones, Mr. Llewellyn, who was the guy behind the operation, Harriet's right-hand man, Alex, and a major from UNIT. P.S. This is the first story with UNIT under the Tower London base. They kill Mr. Llewellyn, begging them for mercy, more or less, trying to reason with them, actually. And then the general gets cross about his death, so they kill him as well. Harriet's a bit more professional when talking towards them. Alex is basically there to translate because they don't understand the language. And when Rose and Mickey are listening in, they don't understand either because the TARDIS isn't translating, and Rose theorizes it's because the Doctor's broken in a way, which does make sense. And Rose, Mickey, and Jackie have to hide in the TARDIS. Jackie goes out for some food, whilst Mickey and Rose accidentally cause the TARDIS to be detected by the Sycorax, leaving a as opened not box the metal thing, carrier thing. You carry it around with you. But there's tea in it, and Mickey drops it after Rose goes outside to have a look to try and help Jackie, but they've been transported up to the ship. She gets kidnapped. Mickey follows. He manages to close the door so they won't get inside, but then he gets captured. But the tea spills down. It's a flask. The tea spills down from the flask from the floor into the TARDIS, and it wakes the Doctor. Rose attempts to be the Doctor in a way. I think Clara actually succeeds more in that department. When trying to reason with the Sycorax and shoo them away, but they don't listen to her and prepare to kill her. But then we start hearing translation, and then another great scene of this story, probably the next best scene of the story after the Christmas Tree one. David Tennant's 10th Doctor opens the TARDIS doors, stands there, smiles. Did you miss me? Oh, that's a great first scene, great first shot for a Doctor. Okay, not the first shot, but it's a great shot for our new Doctor. And yeah, he's able to fight off the Sycorax. He's not taking any nonsense. He's able to flip off the killing machine that killed Mr. Llewellyn and the Major. He's able to snap the staff. And basically, in his kind of a bit of a muddled state, because post-regeneration, although he has had 15 hours to recover, more or less. But he's a little bit of a muddle. He's still getting used to his new body, new mannerisms, and all that. But he's able to stop the Sycorax's plan to. Well, basically, they weren't going to have the people jump off the edge of the buildings, and the 10th Doctor works that out, and he pretty much puts a stop to the Sycorax's plans. And then he challenges them to challenge the leader to a sword fight. And they have a brilliant fight in the ship, and then on the outside of the ship. Great fight. Ends with the Sycorax leader cutting off the Doctor's right hand, but due to still being in his 15 hours of regeneration, okay, he's not had them all yet, he grows his hand back. Also, take note of that lost hand. It's going to pop back up later in the series and also in Torchwood. Not sure about the sword, though, or the Sycorax leader, but the hand will be back. And that's going to be important to events in Journey's End as well. But anyway, so the Doctor grows himself a new hand, and he continues fighting the Sycorax with a new sword, and eventually beats the Sycorax, and makes him honour the rules of combat, and yeah, just lets them go. But then the Sycorax leader tries to kill him, and he throws a stupid old Satsuma, as we like to say in my family, at the button, and allows the Sycorax to fall to his death. Ouch. Yeah, that's going to be a death that's going to pop up a little bit later on in Series 7 episode, be referenced. But I'm not saying that the Sycorax leader didn't deserve it, though. But traitor, and this Doctor is in a no second chance Doctor for the most parts. I mean, some of the events he will give a second chance, but he's pretty sort of strict with no second chance with quite a lot of the other places. He finds the Satsuma in his pocket, by the way, because it belongs to a friend of Jackie's who likes having food in his pajamas, in his dressing gown, and he has an apple in one of them in it earlier, and then has the Satsuma, which pretty much ends up saving the day. I now look forward to I look forward to having Satsumas in my stockings at Christmas, of course. I don't know if I get them all the time, but definitely most Christmases I've had them. So yeah, and at the end of the day, the Doctor just sends the cigarettes home, just obeying the laws of contact, and everyone goes back to work, including the TARDIS. And they reunite with Jackie just a few streets away. The cigarettes leave, and everyone's fine, and everyone's happy, and they all love the new Doctor. So, conflict over. But then Harriet orders Torchwood, who's been mentioned a few times through this series. Who are Torchwood? We're going to find out later in the series. So throughout the episode, they've been talking about, with the Major, about this mysterious organisation called Torchwood, who have the weaponry they need, and Harriet orders them to destroy the ship, much to the Doctor's disgust as they were leaving, and discovers that the Golden Age under Harriet Jones isn't really up to scratch, as they'll just... they're prepared to defend themselves, yeah, that's fine, but when they just destroy the ships when they were leaving, yeah, I can see him getting a bit pissed off. I mean, she had some good arguments as well, but yeah, just destroying them on the way out, yeah, that's not fair, not really. They destroyed the leader, that's killed the leader, that's fair, but the rest of them, they were leaving. So the Doctor pretty much sabotages Harriet Jones's political career. So instead of having 3 consecutive terms of Harriet Jones, he pretty much ends a political career after about, if we say England's London World War III is April. I mean, it probably isn't April, May. Probably isn't, but let's just say April, May 2005. There's pretty much 7 or 8 months of Harriet Jones, and then literally we get a downfall, and she's forced to resign due to the Doctor's 6 words. Don't you think she looks a bit tired? So she whispers to Alex, and he somehow spreads the rumours on or something, or maybe someone else heard, or maybe someone in the earpiece, or Alex had taken it out. Somehow it got around, and Harriet is now no longer Prime Minister. And here starts all of the problems the Doctor is going to face in Series 3. As 18 months after this downfall, around this time, a particular person is going to pop up, and they're going to, over the course of the 18 months, there's going to be no leader. Somehow, for 18 months, there's no political leader. It's the same in Time Agent Series 3, where for 6 to 12 months, there was no person in charge, and whilst there was behind the scenes forces behind the scenes working against them, here it's not really made clear why there isn't anyone for 18 months. It's not even a temporary one. And I'm thinking that this particular person is involved in causing a kind of an 18-month gap of no actual leader between Harriet Jones's downfall and an election taking place in 2008, where this particular person wins that election and becomes Prime Minister, as we see in the 2007 episode, The Sound of Drums. And as I'm getting goosebumps now, I'm pretty sure everyone knows who I'm talking about. It is, of course, Harold Saxon, aka the Master. Ooh. So pretty much everything that goes wrong for the Doctor in 2007, 2008 in the time period, in Series 3, everything that happens then can be traced back to here with the Doctor deposing of Harriet Jones. After this, Saxon is going to become the next Prime Minister, and there you can relate all of the problems that you'll get in Series 3, especially in the last 2 episodes. Ooh, not to mention that in Series 4's finale, Harriet also and Sarah Jane referenced this particular bit about the Doctor not being there. Harriet says the Doctor, sometimes he's not always there. She told him herself, and he wouldn't listen. And Sarah Jane, of course, remembers the deposing. So, yeah, all problems from Series 3 and Series 4 can be related here. Well, not problems in Series 4, but it can be referenced back to here. But, yeah, anyway, Harriet does get that redemption. Harriet, thankfully, does get a redemption, as seen in that Series 4 episode. So yeah, but yeah, that's bad news there. Harriet Jones gets deposed at the end of this. I mean, I know, I can understand where she's coming from, but I do agree with the Doctor on a point of it. But that being said, on reflection, after pretty much having her kicked out, A, changes time that the 9th Doctor knew, and B, pretty much sets up the events of Series 3 concerning Mr. Saxon. Yeah, if the Doctor knew about that in advance, like maybe the 7th Doctor would, perhaps he wouldn't have been that hasty. Anyway, so but on good terms. At least the Doctor gets to have a lovely Christmas dinner with the Tylers and Mickey, and also we have a fantastic song that plays. I do like the Neil Hale version that's on the soundtrack, but I also think that the version they use in the episode is pretty good. I think for the episode, the version they use is great, but for the soundtrack, the one they have on the soundtrack is great. So yeah, that's that argument out the way. But yeah, great scene with the 10th Doctor getting his new coat. I know some people aren't so keen on it because it's just a suit, dimmy. But I know a lot of people love it. Personally, I think it's great. I think it's better with the coat. But I can see where some people are coming from with just a suit. Just to suit it, but I think it works for Tennant. I think it works really well. Most of the Doctors have a fantastic wardrobe that suits the actor or character brilliantly. Even Colin Baker's coat actually worked really well on him. I think anybody else apart from John Barrowman, it wouldn't work so good. But with Colin Baker, I think it actually works. Peter Davison pulls his one off. Tom Baker, John Pertwee, Patrick Troughton, William Hartnell, Sylvester McCoy, Paul McGann, John Hurt, Christopher Eccleston, Matt Smith, Peter Capaldi. I think the only one who's sort of still getting into it is Jodie Whittaker's. But I think maybe with Series 12 it will help a little bit. I mean, the other ones, some of them did alter costumes. I think Capaldi's best costumes are Series 9 Part 2, Velvet Jacket, or Series 10 Velvet Jackets. Actually, I think, yeah, although his Series 8 costume was pretty good. Not every costume is perfect, of course. I'm mainly talking about the main ones, the most notable ones. Unless the 12th Doctor's one was the pyjamas one, in which case, well, Capaldi rocks it, but it's not that good. Anyway, so enough about costumes. That's a video for another time. And after the Sycorax ship, Ash gives us a nice sort of snowy feel. The Doctor invites Rose to continue travelling with him, and that ends the story and sets up Series 2. They will continue travelling in time and space at the start of the next episode. A few days have passed, maybe a few weeks. Just a little bit of time after the Christmas invasion, and the TARDIS has moved again. In fact, it looks like it's moved back to where it was from earlier, from where it ended up after the Sycorax ship. And then later in New Earth, it's going to be in another place. Once everyone's ready to, well, Rose is ready to go, and the Doctor's getting it all ready. But yeah, Christmas Invasion, brilliant story, and I think this is the strongest Christmas special script. Great characters, a pretty great villain in the form of the Sycorax. I think Rose is better in this story than she was in some stories, and she's more respectful to Jackie and Mickey here than she was in most Series 1 episodes. David Tennant is amazing as our new 10th Doctor, and I like the personality we're getting with him. We're going to explore it a little bit more as we go along. Billie Piper does a great job as Rose, and she actually has to carry the story quite a lot with the Doctor out. Mickey, Noel Clarke, they made this character really great. I mean, he was a good character in Series 1, but it seemed to be like they weren't really so keen on writing him to start with, apart from in maybe at the end of World War III, most of World War III, and parts of Parting the Ways. But I think he's definitely had a major improvement here, and Noel Clarke, fantastic. Same for Camille Kaduri as Jackie Tyler. It seems like the journey that they went through in Series 1 has made them better people, and the characters are more well written. So yeah, it's great to see them back again, and they do brilliant jobs. Harriet Jones, similarly, played by Penelope Wilton, it was also great, and I like how they adds the little bit of conflict between her and the Doctor. I actually think it does work. It's just that on reflection, the Doctor does kind of cause his greatest non-Dalek nemesis to pretty much ruin the world 2 years later. So yeah, and also it will. This will come back to haunt him with Harriet Jones's appearance in Series 4 as well, and what happens to her supposedly. I say supposedly due to Russell T Davies sort of having a sneaky little alternative ending in his write-ups in a write-up story in his drawing Doctor Who Pictures book. But problems in Series 3 and mentions in stuff in Series 4 are going to come and bite him back later on down the line, thanks to stuff here. But I think the conflict sort of does work, as well as the friendship, and I think they work off really well with each other. I also like Alex. I think he's a good character. Mr. Llewellyn, great character. There's actually quite a few Welsh people in this story. Well, makes sense as well. Although the one place I would expect a Welsh family to be, they're not Welsh. Okay, that's a surprise. No, not problem, but I would have thought they would have gone and filmed a family from Cardiff or somewhere in Wales, but no, they sound English. Maybe it's a London family. Perhaps they filmed that bit in London. But yeah, and the main, she's also a good character. Slash Sally. Is that Sally Llewellyn? Yeah, she's a good character. She's one of the ones who gets turned into these the zombies controlled by the Sycorax. But I think that she's interesting for what we get with her before that. So yeah, some good characters in there, and I think the Sycorax leader is a pretty good villain, and the Sycorax themselves are pretty interesting. The robot forms here leave a bit to be desired, but thankfully they will be back in The Runaway Bride for more things to do, and I think their inclusion here isn't really that necessary, although we do get that amazing scene with them in London, and of course the amazing scene with the killer Christmas trees, so they make up with that. And the robot forms, of course, will be more present in the next Christmas special, as I said. And I think it looks great. This is a great looking story. A few kind of editing hitches, but I think there's worse to come, like in Runaway Bride. And I think it pulls itself off really well. I think it's a great story. Great story. Great way to start the 10th Doctor's era. Great first Christmas special. It's still the best after all of these years, in my opinion. I know some people will disagree. But I think it's a very strong written story and a really well executed story. It's just basically another episode, but with a little bit more speciality for it, as it's a Christmas story, and a little bit longer. We don't get much of the post-regeneration stuff like, I've got new hair, I've got arms, legs, blah, 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 all that stuff. That's all right. We had that with Born Again. I mentioned that, and also the Rose not trusting the new Doctor bit. We had that with Born Again. Go check out that review for more details. Well, I say more details. And that sort of leads into the start of this story as well. That's we got that to get that out of the way, so we can jump straight into this story. Maybe some people will miss that, but you've always got Born Again to go and check out afterwards. Heck, I know on broadcast that's not going to be so easy, but on DVD, if you've got the DVD, then or Blu-ray. If you watch the story and newer first and then go check out Born Again, or if you do what I did, check out Born Again first and then watch the episodes. Trust me, it's a lot easier to understand if you are going in blind. So on the whole, I think The Christmas Invasion is a great story. And you know what? I think this could be the 5th best story of 2005. I mean, after Bad Wolf Parting the Ways, Dalek, The Anti-Child of Doctor Dances, and Father's Day, this is the 5th best story of 2005. So I'm going to be giving The Christmas Invasion, the 10th Doctor's first story, a 10 out of 10. Not since Spearhead from Space have we had such a fantastic first story for the 10th Doctor, and we will be getting 2 more fantastic first stories for our new Doctors later down the line. Both of them also first great stories for the new showrunner. I think the top 5, in my opinion, are The 11th Hour, which is the next one, Spearhead from Space, which was the last opening story for a Doctor to be given a 9 or 10 out of 10. Then it would be The Christmas Invasion. Then I would say The Woman Who Fell to Earth, the 13th Doctor's story, first story. And then wrapping up at number 5 is The Power of the Daleks. So all of those are 10 or 9s. I think the rest are lower. I think the rest are lower for first stories or opening stories, excluding The War Doctor because of he didn't really get a proper first story, to be honest. But I think the rest are 8 or lower. It's just we got 5, 10s, and 9s, and I think this would be 3rd best overall, in my opinion, behind 11th Hour, which is the next one, and Spearhead from Space, which is the last one to be given a 9 or higher. And you also got 2 9s, which are Power, which was the one before Spearhead from Space, and The One Who Fell to Earth, the latest. Yeah, that last one's going to be controversial, by the way. Well, it's my opinion. And it's also my opinion that this story is so high on my post-regeneration story list. And I consider it the 5th best story of 2005. Again, after the top 4 stories of Series 1, it would then be this, and then next best story is a 9 out of 10, The Unquiet Dead. This also means this is Russell T Davies' 2nd best story of 2005, and his 2nd best story so far. And it will probably stay that way until probably the series finale of Series 2, maybe? Or into Series 3 or Series 4. But yeah, so far his 2nd best story of the show so far. Anyway, so that's it from me. Thank you for watching. I'm going to do a bonus review of the interactive game, the Attack of the Grass, because that'll be next. It's going to be a bonus review And then the next episode I'll be taking a look at will be New Earth, which will kickstart Series 2 and the 10th Doctor's first series, and it's also his first proper episode after the post-regeneration story. So yeah, next time is technically Attack of the Grask, but after that, the next proper Doctor Who episode will be, which we will review, will be Series 2, Episode 1, New Earth. I'll see you guys then. Goodbye. Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Nicholas Payne Retro YouTube channel. Anyway. So Rose and her the entire episode, and probably the best 2005, and probably the best scene in any 2005 episode, excluding any the series. And probably the second best scene in any episode of 2005, apart after the final scene in Bad Wolf and the final scene in... I don't know. And it's one of the best scenes from a 2005 episode. Probably third after the final scenes of Parting Ways and Bad Wolf, respectively. With the first scene with the Ninth Doctor being the next best scene, probably. And actually, it's also all those amazing scenes in Dalek. Oh, there's so many amazing scenes in the 2005 series and this special. Oh goodness. Okay. Maybe third best scene is a bit of an overstatement. Maybe it's fourth actually. Or fifth. Fourth or fifth. Okay, it's one of the top five. I think maybe two scenes from Dalek do beat it, and then it's Rose at sixth. Okay, back to the stories, and they want a third of the they want half of the population in slavery, or they will kill a third, and they want half of the human population. And probably the seventh best scene of 2005. Yeah, I think the Christmas tree one's probably 5. Going from Bad Wolf's final scene, Parting Ways final scene, Dr. Dalek confrontation scene, Dr. Dalek video screen confrontation scene. I think the Dr. Dalek final scene at the end of Dalek would be 8th. But anyway, so... and this was probably the 9th best scene in the entire 2005 series and special, and realises that Britain's golden age under Harriet isn't actually what he wanted them to be. I think, is she related to Mr. Llewellyn? Makes sense. It would make sense if he was that he's trying to convince her to stay. If she was a relative or something of his. The robot forms leave a bit to be decided to be at the start. You know what? I think this could be the third best story of 2000. No, fourth best story of 2005. Fifth. Excuse me. And after Spearhead from Space and another fantastic First Doctor story. Actually, no, there's 2, which is the last 10 out of 10 opening story for a Doctor. Discounting the TV movie. No, that was an 8. Which was the last 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 story. Which was the last great. Who gives a damn? Well, it's my opinion, so yeah. And yeah, so next time, after the Attack of the Grask bonus episode review, next time, Doctor Who Series 1,